I think now everybody's like, okay, yeah, I'm listening to it ironically, but it's like, you're sure listening to it a lot ironically. Like you like it. Just admit it. You like Creed. Welcome to Personal Records with Scott and Chris.
Hey, this is a podcast show. We're going to talk about personal records. We're going to discuss about our favorite artists, favorite albums. Maybe you're going to share some albums you have no idea you've ever heard of, or maybe some albums that you love as well. But we're just going to talk about our favorite things on this show.
Today, 1997. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Chris, what were you doing in 1997? Can you remember back that far?
Yes, in 1997, I was 19 and a freshman in college. Probably weighed about 155 pounds. I know I had bleached hair. Very ashamed of that, but it was in at that present moment.
So. Well, what a coincidence, because I was also 19 and going to college, and I don't think I still had any bleach blonde hair, but I had it definitely in 1996. You and I were still life partners at that point.
We were like this.
Yeah, and we were roommates. At Liberty University.
Yep, college roommates.
And 1997 was a really good year for music, I would say. I mean, honestly, that whole era, and I don't know if it's just because we lived, like, we were a certain age during that time, but when I looked back at records from 97, I was like, it's like a murderer's row.
Oh,
like, how am 100%. I going to pick? So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about our top five. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to narrow it down to five, so we've got honorable mentions. Mm-hmm. But, you know, when I think back to 97, I think about being in our band, Brave Little Toaster, mm-hmm. and I would say I was somewhat limited as to, like, what I really listened to back then. Mm-hmm. Like, over the years, I've definitely gotten more expanded my taste, but I know that both of us liked heavy music, hard music, listening to a lot of like Blindside, stuff like that. But I would say 97 was a bit of a transitional year, like for me, where I started to learn about new stuff. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Same. It was definitely a time, like, I think we were very, very lucky growing up in the era that we did, specifically at this time. Like, the records that came out in 1997 are like absolutely insane. Even that from genre-wise, whatever, if it was hardcore metal, especially alternative, this is still the brink of that. With all the stuff that was coming out, we had like this, you know, just this huge pool of artists and great records that came out. And I was pretty like bipolar with it. Like, I was listening to everything. So
yeah. And I think it'll be interesting as we do this podcast when we do, because we're not going to do a year. It's not going to be every episode. Right. We're going to mix it up, but it'll be interesting to see how our tastes were maybe very similar, and then maybe they branched out. And I think this is a cool year to start with, because I bet if we did like 91, we'd have the exact same albums.
Yeah.
Right? But, you know, so I can't wait to see if we have some of the same albums on here. And the other thing is, I don't want to talk about this before, because we've had a bunch of times where we start to talk and I'm like, save it, just save it, because this is good for the podcast. Which is like, what are the rules for what we pick? And it's like, I was thinking, can we have like EPs on there? Can we have, you know, stuff that maybe came out right before 97? I'm like, no, it's got to be 97. And then when we get to some of the other categories too, it's like, what exactly are the rules for this? But we'll talk about that when we get to those albums. But we can do whatever we want. That's the beautiful 100%. Thing. So what we did is we each individually came up with what, you know, our top five and a bunch of honorable mentions. I will tell you, at one point I had like 10 honorable mentions, and I'm like, I got to trim this down. So I feel like I'm leaving off some good stuff. I also totally had anxiety over that I'm going to leave off something awesome because I forgot that it came out in 97, which I probably will think of after we record. I'll be like, oh my gosh, you know. But so do you want to go ahead with your honorable mentions?
Yes. Right. And this was insane, because it was like, man, I love that record so much. I'm not going to put that like in the top five.
It's crazy.
And these are also bands that I love, and I've kind of walked through them throughout my life. But basically in 1997, my gosh, there were so many great records. So my first honorable mention was from the band 311. Transistor came out. Mm-hmm. And Transistor was awesome, because I know that like 311, like that whole army of 311 fans who were like shocked because it wasn't like music, wasn't like Grassroots, it wasn't, you know, like the Blue Album, which just blew up. And this was this dark, heavy record, but it's a fantastic record. So Transistor, honorable mention. Another honorable, I just messed up, honorable mention is a band called 6 Feet Deep.
Oh, I forgot about them. Dude, I forgot about them. Did we play with them?
No, okay. But I blared that album. So The Road Less Traveled was this hardcore band from Midwest. They broke up literally in 97, but after this album came out, but this was probably a definitive hardcore record that I picked up and that I absolutely loved.
I have not heard, see, this is why I'm already so glad we're doing this. I have not even heard 6 Feet Deep in 20 plus years.
And the record still is so legit.
And by the way, Chris and I were roommates, okay? So everything that he liked, I heard a lot of, and vice versa. So whether or not I chose to be a fan of 6 Feet Deep, I heard a lot of 6 Feet Deep.
You heard a lot of it. Another honorable mention is Blink-182 Dude Ranch. But I picked that there because I'm sure in another episode, I'm going to be talking a lot about this record. But Dude Ranch was a great record. This was kind of like breaking the rule. Okay, I'm breaking the rule.
Oh,
okay,
is this not in 97?
It's 97, but it's a demo. Okay, and I'm explaining.
Okay.
So in 97, there was a gentleman at college, his name was Z.
Yeah.
And we met, and we were talking back and forth, and he's like, "You like Snapcase?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love Snapcase." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Okay, hold on." I'm like, "Dude, I got Progression Through Unlearning." He's like, "So do I." I'm like,
wait, you got what?
Their album that came out in 97, Progression Through Unlearning.
I thought that was like some sort of like disease you had. Dude, I got progressive.
No, probably,
something like progressive.
So we talked about that, but he's like, "Dude, well, my brother is in a band." And I was like, "Yes, please let me know." Mm-hmm. So there is a band called Mushmouth from Pennsylvania, and he gave me the demo on tape.
Nice.
And when I got this demo, these 6 songs, it was unbelievable. And it was so cool because his brother Chris was in the band and they ripped. Yeah. And I ended up meeting him. He came to pick him up and I punished him with questions. I know he was like, "Can this kid leave me alone?" But I was asking like all these questions.
Am I nuts, or did they, I might be totally making this up, but did they open for like Seven Dust or something? Or
no.
How big did they get?
They were in Pennsylvania in the East Coast. I mean, Z was telling me like they play with Snapcase. They're playing with these. Right. So they were legit. They got on Triple Crown Records.
Right. So they were legit, but like what's funny is for me with bands like that, like for example, there's a band I'm going to end up probably talking about where they're like a local band, or they're like got kind of big, but to me they're like huge because I love them so much. Right. So like you're talking to Mushmouth guy and like as if they're like Led Zeppelin or something. Like, but I mean, no, they're big, but like you were probably one of the bigger fans. I would imagine.
100%. Specifically because the demo was so good in these 6 songs, and I listened to it a ton. And then hearing when, they got signed, they're going to go record, they're going to put out their album. I was like, and then kind of see it over the next months was just very, very cool. So it was pretty cool.
Nice. Good
and
call.
Then my last one was, I have a physical copy of it, but as you know, we love this band, but it was Silverchair Freak Show, their sophomore album. When it came out, and I listened to that thing, went through the CD, read all the lyrics.
Oh, I remember. So I would say, I actually, as I was thinking about this episode, I was listening to a bunch of albums. That Freak Show came out in 97? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why I was listening to it. So spoiler, it's not on my list, but I was playing that album. I was playing some of their other stuff for Reagan, my daughter. And like, I was like, this band probably more than any reminds me of us, me, like, and I mean like you and me, but the band, because I feel like, we did a cover of like a couple of their songs and the way they play and like what they were doing. And also the other thing is how young they were. They were about our age.
Yeah, I think we're just about a year or two older than them.
Yeah, so I love that album. I forgot, like, I was listening to that album and I was like, every song, I kept waiting for there to be like a bad song. Right. I was like, this is a really good song. So with that being an honorable mention, I'm looking forward to seeing what else you got.
Yeah, so that's my honorable mention. Okay. So what do you got?
So I'm going to have to go quick because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 7 because I just simply could not take.
Totally understand.
And before that, I had way more. I'm gonna start with Daft Punk Homework. So I remember I said like I feel like 97 was a year that I started my ears started opening up to new stuff because I mean, for one, I grew up mostly not being allowed to listen to secular music. I listened to only Christian music. And then even when I would like start to hear other stuff, it was like what was playing on Z104 or 103 jams. I mean, that was it. Or I'd steal like I think your brother at this point knows how many times I went into his room and took like tapes out of that box. And but other than that, I had no idea. So I didn't know there was stuff like Daft Punk. Like, and you remember Sparky, Josh Woodyard, he was always in our room. I'm not sure why. A lot of people were in our dorm room a lot. And he put on Around the World, which is one of the tracks on Homework. And I was like, what is it? Because it's just like, if you know the song, it's just, it's long and it just says Around the World. That's the only lyrics of the whole thing. And then it's doing, I mean, you know what Daft Punk is. And it just opened my mind a lot to music. Switchfoot, The Legend of Chin.
Great album.
Great album. I mean, was it Chemical 6A, Concrete Girl? Again, this was just good songs. And also, fun fact about Switchfoot, which you well know, is, again, this is like, I want to say before the internet, but the internet was barely there.
It was not there.
So, yeah, so we're listening to Switchfoot, and I'm like, that guy's voice is so reminiscent of this band, Etc., which, by the way, you can't find it online. So
I've searched. It is.
There is a band called Etc. in San Diego. The only way I got this CD was because I did a missions trip, went to San Diego, went to Mexico. This guy was like, "Hey, this is our friend's band." We became obsessed with it. Me, you, BJ, first of all, don't name your band Etc. because it's hard to it's like not good for the internet. But it was awesome. Anyway, that became Switchfoot. They became huge. My next one is, now this is weird because it's Ben Folds 5, Whatever and Ever, Amen. The reason I say it's weird is I love that album. Although it's got the most depressing song in the world, Brick, which is like a huge bummer.
Wow.
But I love it. But I remember buying this at the Lynn Haven Mall and Sam Goody, the tape. I'm like, why was I still buying tapes in 97? But I think it's because, to play in the car or whatever. Yeah. I have Third Eye Blind. How can you not have that? That was a hard one not to have on the top 5. I'll just leave that at that. That everyone knows that album. It's a freaking classic. It's gotten better with time. By the way, it's like that band, young people love it still. Like it's weird. It's weird how there are certain songs and bands and albums that you wouldn't have necessarily predicted would have the longevity. Right. That Third Eye Blind album has it. 3 more. Five Iron Frenzy, our newest album ever. Dude.
That's the blue cover, right?
That's the blue cover. Five Iron Frenzy is awesome. And they've made a ton of albums. Our newest album ever was after Upbeats and Beatdowns. It had songs like Handbook for the Sellout, Blue Comb 78, Oh Canada is hilarious. Right. Superpowers, worth a listen. By the way, I should say this, we're not doing audio clips on the show because if you want to hear something, pull it up. Like you can pull it up on YouTube, you can pull it up on Spotify. Spiritualized, now we're down to these last 2 were in the top 5 and ended up getting moved out, but they were initially in top 5. Spiritualized, Ladies and Gentlemen, We Are Floating in Space, incredible record. We don't have time for me to go into it, but it's another one that I actually picked this one up years later. So I didn't start listening to it in 97, but it blew my mind. It is what I would call organized chaos of an album. I would love to talk more about it, but I don't have time. Well, I mean, we have as much time as we want, but I don't want to, And then this one, like last night, had to come off the top 5, and it hurts me to do so, but Starflyer 59, Americana. Love that album. Again, probably the first shoegaze type of thing.
It still holds up today. Like it's crazy because back then you're like, you know what? It is so good.
I like it more now. And it's like when I got it,
because people didn't get it. Like back then,
I almost didn't get it back then.
Right.
But you're right.
So, but people didn't get it. People were like, it's too weird or whatever. But no, it's unbelievable.
Well, it's like the first time I listened to My Bloody Valentine, I was like, what am I hearing? What is this? But this wasn't My Bloody Valentine, but I wasn't sure what to make of it, but I kept listening. And then as the years have gone on, I've realized how influential that was to me and what I like, as well as influential just in general. All right. So those are my honorable mentions.
Okay.
We got them out.
Dude, I thought at least one of the ones you said, I sure thought Ben Folds 5 was going to be in your top 5.
Did you really?
Totally.
Yeah. Well, I saw your face when I said it. I didn't know if you were like,
I was like,
you thought it was going to be top 5 or if
I was
you were
like, dude,
really?
how is that not your
sucks.
top 5? No, that's crazy.
I don't know. I love it, but I mean,
but what's crazy though,
wait till you hear the top 5 and you'll be like, well, where is it supposed to go?
Well, my list changed like 18 times. So.
Oh yeah. All right.
Okay.
I want to hear your number 5.
Okay. My number 5 is The Splinter Shards, The Birth by Zayo. It came out April 1st of 1997.
I love Zayo.
And it's such a rad record. The Time of Separation is the kickoff track of it. And this is before Dan took over vocals. So they had one lead singer, the first one on this record. And in that, he yells for like, it seems like 30 seconds. It is the greatest. Please check out that. That is such an amazing song. But and then Repressed is another great track. But I just remember getting that because, like I said, I was already listening to some stuff. I was getting into heavy music, but then I was like, okay, this is my cup of tea type stuff, and that was why I put that at 5 because at first it wasn't. Right. But I was thinking, I was like, man, but this record is clearly something that I latched on to.
It like scratched the itch and you were like, ooh, sure. This is what I like.
100%.
I'll say this about you, Chris, is I remember like, because you and I were like together all the time in high school and like listen to music together. We'd get tapes together. We'd listen. And even then our preference was a little different.
Right.
But I remember listening to the Goldfinger tape. And I remember your response when, which song is it where it has the juju, the
Pictures?
breakdown?
It's Pictures.
Yeah, Pictures.
It's a fantastic song.
And I don't know if it's Drop D or not, but they go into there's a little breakdown with a real heavy, as you called it,
chug.
The juju chug chug,
yeah,
juju
man,
chug chug.
Sick.
And you were like, you had just discovered, this is what I want to listen to for the rest of my life. And that influenced how we played our music. Yeah. But I think that what happened was you started getting exposed to more stuff. And I remember Zayo when you found, so it really wasn't my cup of tea, but you had found your groove for sure.
For sure. Well, and that was a big thing too, is that I was listening to like, okay, like I love his drumming. So
and Chris is a drummer.
And I'm locking on that. Like, man, what he's doing, his fills, I was like, I'm going to rip that off.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I couldn't rip it off, but I tried. I tried.
That's the thing. That's always the thing for me. Like when we were in a band and I'd be like, oh man, we're completely ripping off. It's like, we can't rip these people off if we tried. So let's just try.
Yeah. Number 5, what do you got?
Okay. Number 5 for me, this is the one that I obviously had in my honorable mentions, but as I was listening back, I was like, how can I not have this top 5? This album is incredible. Just the first 30 seconds. Okay. Portishead. The first 30 seconds of Cowboys, it's like nothing I've ever listened to before. Nobody's ever done anything like Portishead. Nothing sounds like Portishead, okay? Don't call it, the whole whatever, trip hop, whatever, because they tried to lump, anytime there's like a successful album,
right,
writers try to, okay, let's make this a thing. I said shoegaze. I use that term even though nobody that does those bands likes it. But trip hop, it was not, in my opinion, a thing. But Portishead was a thing. And what was cool about this album was Dummy was their first album. It was awesome. But they used a lot of samples, which was cool. Right. But on Portishead, they did not use samples. They
took a jump, and the music is just, it's awesome. Everything got amped up, and it's so good.
Incredible. Nobody has a voice like Beth Gibbons, I think her name is, right? Mm-hmm. So I could talk about this album forever, but if you are not familiar with Portishead, you should check it out. And if you don't like the first, like I said, 30 seconds, okay, you don't, but if you do, you're in for a real treat. So, all right, Chris, Number 4.
Okay, if you notice, there is a theme. This is another heavy record, but
What? I'm shocked.
It's another heavy record, but this was Living Sacrifice Reborn. This came out on November 4th of 1997, and I would probably say this is like the metal album that I like. This was the metal album that I understood. I loved it. Everything about it. Does some of the songs like No Longer is an amazing song. The song Sellout is just, I mean, for it is just terrific. And then the main song that got a lot of love was that song called Reject. Mm-hmm. And the breakdown in Reject.
The Juju Chug Chug.
I mean, today, like I've gone and just watched, like they played Furnace Fest, like maybe a year or two ago, and the whole thing is just to watch when that part comes in, just people just go nuts. But that album is just,
so they're still going.
Yeah, I mean, they play like festivals, you know. They're like one of those type of bands now. But I mean, Bruce was just a terrific vocalist, awesome guitarist, but that was just an awesome from lyrical standpoint all the way through. It was just a banger of a record, and even today holds up well. So that's my number 4.
Okay. No surprise there. All right, you ready for number 4? Yes. Number 4 is one that I didn't have it on there because I thought maybe it was breaking the rules, but then I was like, how can I not put the Bloomsday EP on there? And so I don't know, don't say anything. I don't know if you're going to have it or if you didn't because it's an EP, but that's where I was like, this is our podcast. We can make the rules. And I didn't want to talk about it ahead of time because then you would have known where I was going with it. Nobody listening to this right now, unless it's Adam or maybe Micah or Eric, I know Eric, knows who right. Bloomsday is. That album, that EP came out in 1997. It's so freaking good. I'd rather listen to the Bloomsday EP than just about anything. The guitars are lush and beautiful, and Blake Westcott's voice is ethereal. We used to listen to their first LP, which was called The Day the Colors Died, every night when we would go to bed in our dorm room, much to the chagrin of our roommate who hated it and would always be like, can we play something else tonight? We're like, let's take a vote.
You talking about that first roommate?
I'm talking about Steve Thrasher Ward.
Oh, I was talking about the first. Okay.
Oh, Rick.
I hope
you hated that guy a lot, and I'm sorry because we messed with you one time. We don't need to go into that story, but
let's talk about Bloomsday.
Okay, yeah. I can see Chris's face just got like real.
Like my heart rate just went.
We used to, but do you remember though? Because
no, it was.
You're right. It was him. It wasn't. I think it was. Everybody that roomed with us had to listen to this album because like this is how we go to sleep.
They had to deal with it,
and I'll never forget because anytime they'd be like, "Dude, let's listen to something else," it would be like, "All right, let's take a vote." Chris, what do you want to listen to? Bloomsday. All right, 2-1. But the EP is incredible. It's not streaming, unfortunately. It's on YouTube,
and that's where I've listened to it. So it's please check out the Bloomsday EP. There's another Bloomsday artist out there. Not it. But
it's not it. It's
the two audios that are out there is Day of Color Die and the Bloomsday EP. It has a Kanan on it. Please find that one. That's the best one.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Again, I cannot recommend it more. And I don't think it's just like we like it, but it's so, to me, it's ahead of its time.
100%.
It almost,
if it would have came out, no lie, if it would have came out in 2026, through the roof.
It hurts me that they didn't put out anything else, even though Blake Westcott did more stuff. Like I think you pointed out he played on some Pedro the Lion records. He also toured with Dave Bazan and had another band called Saltine, which put out like a 3-song EP, which is really good, but it's different. It's poppier, whereas Bloomsday is just like moody. It's almost, I was trying to think of who to compare it to. I have a hard time, I would say like musically, it's got I'm not even going to say the comparisons I'm thinking because let's just move on. But Bloomsday EP, All right, Chris, you're up.
All right, this is my number 3. I have a physical copy of it, and you've already mentioned it.
Okay.
It fell into but
Yeah.
this record right here, Third Eye Blind, their first record. This was definitely something I thought, like I said, this wasn't the heavy stuff, but there's just not a song on this album that I don't love, and like that to me is a big thing. Is like when they put out like their first song was Semi-Eternal Life, like I was like, eh.
Yeah.
The other stuff that's on the record is superior, and like Graduate, an amazing song. But even how it even kicks off with Losing a Whole Year, that is that. But How It's Gonna Be is a ridiculously sad song. But I mean, thanks a lot. I mean, it just track by track.
The deep cuts like God of Wine,
100%.
Shipboard Cook, like these are like, to your point, the single what's that called again? Semi-Eternal Life.
Yeah.
You know, there were a lot of bands in the 90s that had like a hit song. Let's take like Blind Melon, for example. They had No Rain, but then the rest of the album didn't really sound like the one song.
Right.
And I mean, Semi-Eternal Life is like, that's not the one I listen to.
No, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
That's the song I skip.
Yeah.
I really
same,
don't. I mean,
same.
not talking trash or anything like that. It's just that's a great record. It probably, if we ever do like Perfect Records type or like records no skips, that's right there. So that's number 3.
Great call. I think, is that the first one that we've both had at least on the list?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, my number 3, Creed, My Own Prison. Let me tell you something. That album rules. And when that album came out, I remember, the first time I heard My Own Prison on the radio, I was very confused because one of my favorite bands is Pearl Jam. And that was my favorite band for a long time. I was like, when did Pearl Jam make this song?
Right.
And they got a little bit ripped for that. So as did when STP came out. A lot of people were, it's a Pearl Jam ripoff. It's a Pearl Jam ripoff. No, it's not. It's its own thing. Again, people always want to be reductive and just that album, when it came out, I was like, oh, finally, like, even though I said 97 was full of a lot of good music, a lot of the stuff on here, I came to appreciate later, or it was like influential. But when My Own Prison came out, that's what I wanted to listen to like all the time. And look, for whatever reason over the years, Creed, people have been like embarrassed to like Creed, or they malign Creed, or Creed isn't cool. It's like, I think there are reasons for that. They have nothing to do with music.
Right.
I think the fact that they had Christian lyrics was, and it wasn't clever music. It was earnest music.
Right.
But it's not bad. I mean, first of all, Mark Tremonti is a tremendous guitarist.
Dude shreds. And
he gets no love.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember going to our friend Seth and Lisa's house, and it was like 97, and they were living off campus, and they had the CD. They had like 2 CDs, and Seth and I were just like, yeah, this is like the only good music out there right now, which obviously wasn't true, but I will die on the hill of Creed. And by the way, look at how many
albums did they? I mean, I'm sure it's got they hit diamond. They had to hit 10 mil.
And they're selling out now. They're selling out huge arenas because everyone. It's like it wasn't cool to like Creed for a while, and I think now everybody's like, okay, yeah, I'm listening to it ironically, but it's like you're sure listening to it a lot ironically. Like you like it. Just admit it. You like Creed. Trust me, you like Creed. All right, Chris, go. You're up to number 2.
I'm up my number 2, and you already talked about it.
I did. Oh,
you already did.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I steal your thunder?
No, it's totally cool, and I'm glad because what you said, I get to piggyback and tag team. But this record, and especially with my taste of '97, this was like the dark horse of what I listened to for sure. But this record is just absolutely phenomenal.
The record cover's awesome too.
It is just a great record from start to finish. Man, 7 months is such a amazing song, but I absolutely love this record. I don't know.
All Mine is on this too, right? All Mine.
Yep. It is just a great record.
It's a masterpiece.
And it is something that I hope you guys check it out if you're interested in just a great album. A little bit different genre, but it is just a great record. And I love it. And sadly enough, I mean, I wish they would continue to put more and more music out there.
Yeah, they put out the third album in like, what was it, like 2000?
Well, that was the thing. It was like Dummy came out in 94,
Yeah.
and then there was a big gap, and then 97, and then there's another. So it was
Yeah,
like, it wasn't like
10-year gap or something.
Yeah.
But
So
guess what? Third, which is the name of their third album, tremendous.
Oh.
And by the way, they didn't just like redo
Right.
each of their albums.
Well, that's
is
what
different.
I love. It,
Mhm.
this album is different, a completely different shift from Dummy and those things. But
That's your number two?
That's my number
Then,
two.
I'm going to tell you right now, I know what your number one is, because when I was doing research, I was like, if this is not his number one,
Yeah.
so now that I know that it's not your number two, it's going to, I already know. But for me, my number two, and that Portishead, first one we both had in our top five. That's awesome. My number two is, you may have heard of it, Radiohead, OK Computer. Okay. This album, I remember when Micah, our friend Micah, heard this, and he was still in high school, and I think it was like coming to college. He's like, try to do my Micah impression. He's like, dude, have you heard the new Radiohead album? I'm like, I mean, we listen to the Bins all the time. Like, that was one of the staples in our dorm room, was the Bins. And so I'm expecting something, and I get some, and he's like, no. He's like, they just changed music. And I'm like, for Micah to say that, I'm like, oh, okay. And so I never forget, I had that impression before I ever heard it. And it's just one of the best albums ever made. It's only my number two on this list because for personal reasons, I like my number one better, but it just honestly doesn't get much better than OK Computer. I mean, it captured a feeling that was going on at that time. So 97, again, the internet, let's not forget what a huge deal that was. And I mean, I know we're old and we sound old, I'm sure, talking about when the internet came out,
Right.
but that's why, like, with the AI freak out right now that people are having, I go, I get it, but I remember the freak out with the internet. It
Right.
was just as much or bigger. Everybody was scared of it, but there was this, on the album, the band itself, like Tom York is sort of a difficult, moody guy in the same, just like a lot of these guys, like, Kurt Cobain didn't want to be a rock star.
Right.
Michael Stipe didn't want to be a rock star. And Tom York didn't want to be a rock. I mean, legitimately was like, okay, so they really like this. We're not going to do that anymore.
Right.
And the rest of the band was getting pissed. Like, they almost broke up. Like,
Right.
they took a long time to try to make this album because they just were like, we don't want it to be, we really don't even want hits on it. So, but it had hits. I mean, Paranoid Android is like one of the best rock songs ever written. It's got Karma Police. Probably my favorite Radiohead song of all time, Let Down, is just so good. It is a perfect album, and it's my number two, Radiohead, OK Computer.
I figured that was number one.
Yeah.
Is what I. Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, now that I know what you said, that now I think I know.
You know my number one now?
I think, but
Yeah.
All right. So my number one, I guess, is, you probably figured this out, but
yeah, I'll let you say it. But
so it is from the band The Deftones.
Yep.
It is Around the Fur. This album is fantastic for a variety of different reasons. This is their sophomore LP. Within that, learning more about it over the years, I definitely played that a lot. I loved specifically it. There's heavy songs, but there's also some chiller songs, which I absolutely love. I actually would say that most of their softer songs are the album are my favorite within that. But most of their stuff off this album, like, I've seen them 3 times live, but they
Nice.
have to play. Mayan Summers, like, that kind of being the hit. But overall, like, that's not my favorite song off the album. Be Quiet and Drive's amazing. Mascara's great. RX Queen is awesome. No, not RX Queen. I apologize. MX. That's what the end song of it. But just a great album. And then even that, just doing this, like, finding out, like, the album cover, that was like an iconic album cover.
Yeah.
It was, you know, shot by this famous photographer, all those things. And it was kind of an accident. There were, you know, all those things, but just a great record. There's a lot of lore to it, but it's just a great record. I think it's even now holding up. And I think it's what's so cool now is that, you know, they had another kind of rise again, like, you know, and they're huge.
They're huge.
More than ever. They're selling out everything.
I mean, there's nobody bigger in that genre, right? Like,
but they're just a fantastic band, and I think, and I have their full catalog, but it's just been cool to see from even 97 to where they are now with their last album that just came out, their newest one, phenomenal record, and then just to see the surgence of them, just super stoked for it. But great album.
Yep,
that's my number one.
And by the way, do you know who I listened to a little bit of an interview with Chino recently, and you know what band he talked about that influenced him, and I never like connected the two, was Hum, and I was like, yes, because everybody knows Deftones,
right?
Real ones know Hum,
right?
But then when you listen to Deftones and you listen to even that album, it's like, oh, okay, I hear Hum there a lot. I mean, vocally they're different, but oh, by the way, Hum, who I'm representing today,
nice,
under this. So great call. I left it off because I had it on my honorable mentions because it made a huge splash. To your point,
right.
You loved it. Again. You and Adam were very similar in your love of heavy stuff, and I loved heavy stuff too. But I kind of got more into different stuff. But Deftones was just a crowd pleaser for everyone. We were like, why hasn't anybody made something like this before? Because you introduced me. I mean, I don't know if you. Well, yeah, you were like a big Korn fan. Like when Korn came out, I was like, Korn's awesome. But then Deftones, I felt like took the heaviness but then vocally, which is so smooth, man. Like took the quiet, loud dynamic and just blew it out of the water. All right, so you've gotten through your number one, and then I will do my number one, which I just remember we forgot to put on our little stand over here. It's not Rush. Rush Farewell to Kings did not come out in 1997. Hold on. Okay, you may have never seen this, but Built to Spill, perfect from now on. I am going to put it over here. Not that it's better than Deftones. I'm not saying that. We should have put your Deftones on there too.
It's totally cool.
But anyway, all right. So this album changed everything for me. This album is probably, it's really hard to say your favorite album of all time, but if you and I are similar. Well, the reason we're doing this podcast is because these are things we think about. I know for sure you do, because I do all the time. I'm like, what's my favorite record? If somebody were to ask me, like nobody cares, but I do. Perfect from now on would be there. I mean, I put it above OK Computer, which is insane, but
can I say this? That's shocking to me just because I remember, because I never got into Radiohead, and I know that people like have want to throw rocks at me because like, I just never got into it. I know you loved it, but I just know the impact of that record.
Oh yeah.
Not even just
everybody wanted, remember at college. So we were in a band and we played with a lot of guys. Every band was like, we're trying to do a Radiohead thing. We heard that.
And we were like, please stop.
Right. Like so, it's okay. No, what you're doing kind of sucks.
Yeah.
No, that's mean. But when you're trying to ape Radiohead,
right.
Now you can try to ape the Bends, because that's a, guitar ballad pop. I don't know how to say it, but it's like a lot of people do stuff like the Bends. Nobody did anything like OK Computer. But the reason Built to Spill is over there. Well, first of all, I listen to this album all the time.
Right.
And OK Computer isn't even my favorite Radiohead record. Matter of fact, I think it's like number 3. As much as I love it, there are a couple I love even more, which I'm sure at some point on this podcast we'll talk about. But Built to Spill is a band out of, I think Seattle, right? Like Washington. And they had done some albums prior to this that I didn't know anything about. I didn't know anything about music like this, if that makes sense. I have to give credit to, I brought him up before, Steve Thrasher Ward. Even though he drove us crazy. Sorry, Steve Thrasher Ward, but I remember he being in his car and he's like, you got to listen to this song. You got to listen to this part in this song. And it was the second track, I Would Hurt a Fly. And there's a part in it where it changes up and kind of becomes just like a whole different song. And the guitars sound so beautiful and great, and vocally it's great, and lyrically I had never heard anything like this album, and it just changed my life. I was like, I want to hear more stuff like I never heard anything like that. And there, like, I think there are 8 tracks on it. There a lot of them were like 8-9 minutes long.
Wow.
Which I didn't know you could do that. I mean, and it's not progressive. Like, of course there have been progressive bands, of course, Rush, we love Rush. There are a bunch. I mean, but with this, it's like, okay, so here's a crazy fact about this record I didn't know until I was reading about it, which is they had to record this thing like 3 times because he tried to do Doug March, who's the songwriter, the lead guy. He basically, I don't say he is Built to Spill, but he was going to play all the instruments on it, and he tried to do it except for the drums. Somebody else, his other guy was going to do the drums, the drummer, and he didn't come out the way he liked it. So he got a bassist and another guitarist. They recorded it. They liked it, but then it got, like, the tape itself got ruined with heat in the car when they were driving cross country. So after all that, I think they lost like $30,000, which was, I mean, this is an indie band. I mean, Built to Spill is like legendary indie band, which, by the way, I've seen Built to Spill, I think 6 times. You were there for one of them. It was like the first time I'd seen it. And it wasn't that great of a show. It was at the Norva a long, long time ago. But then I saw them in like 2006, or no, it was 2007, because they were doing the 20th anniversary of Perfect From Now On. And we may do a podcast about this, but I'll go ahead and spill the beans now. I mean, I've seen hundreds of shows. Best show I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
Easily. It was like, I was by myself. I was front center. It was like a magical religious experience seeing them play this record live. I want to go play this record right now. I love this record. It changed the game for me. It made me want to like chase that high of hearing something new I'd never heard before. I'll wrap up with it, but lyrically, it's so interesting. He's talking about different themes like existential crisis, religious themes of. It's very like you're going along with them, and you're like, this guy doesn't have the answers, but he's got the right questions, I think. Right. And I'm really into this. I want to know where he's going to go with it, and then lyrics that just make you laugh. I mean, he's got one of the lyrics is like, no one wants to hear what you dreamt about unless you dreamt about them. Don't let that stop you. Tell them anyway, and you can make it up as you go. I mean, I could quote the whole album. It's just funny. It's clever, but musically, it is tremendous. They recorded it that 3rd time, and it was magic. So, all right, man, we got through it. Let's see. Did I miss anything? No.
Seriously though, how difficult was going through?
Yeah.
It was like, because I know like we left stuff off, but but the thing is at the end of the day, going through 97, like every single one of these records, like I can recall where I was and why.
Every single one.
And I think, and to me, out of these records, like it is just a bright spot. Because even today, like I still listen to Portishead once a month. I always, with these records to go back, like Zayo is definitely on like my workout list and all those things.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
you mentioned Snapcase. They're on my workout playlist, and you introduced me to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking back at my list, I listen to all of these now, varying amounts. Yeah. I wish I could listen to Bloomsday more. Bloomsday, if you're listening to this, Blake Westcott. I will pay for you to put it on Spotify.
Well, I mean, what's crazy is that I'm constantly searching. There's got to be some clown that has a pressing of something. Yeah. Throw it up on whatever.
We had the CD. Do you have the CD now?
I have the CDs. CD, yeah. I have both of them. But that's the thing is like, I think I'm not, no joke. I think I have The Day That Colors in my car.
Yeah. I need to get a CD player to hook up to my
when you drive my 2010 Honda.
Yeah. Quit bragging.
So yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up.
All right.
Chris, we're going to wrap up with, tell me something you've been listening to recently, if you have any recommendations.
I have a great recommendation. There is an amazing band called Dream Fatigue. They're out of Massachusetts. They're phenomenal. And just in 2026, they put out a 7 I guess I don't know if it's a full album considered, but it's 7 tracks, but it's called No Requiem. And Dream Fatigue is phenomenal. Please get a listen. Check them out on Spotify. Follow them on Instagram. Great record. Great female vocalist. Great drumming. The drummer in that band used to be in a band called Vane. He's one of my favorite drummers. He was also in Fleshwater for a time. He left, and now he
Fleshwater?
Yeah. Serious.
That's an amazing band.
Yeah,
name.
so and he's drumming for them, and it's just those 7 tracks are phenomenal. So please check out Dream Fatigue.
Dream Fatigue. I'm gonna go with a band called Spotlights. Eric, our friend Eric, has talked about them for a long time. I recently got to see them live in Chicago. It's cool. It's a husband and wife, and she plays bass, he plays guitar, and she sings too. And then a drummer, 3-piece. I've never heard a 3-piece sound so heavy. You will love Spotlights. Cool. I couldn't even tell you a name of their album actually, because there were so many bands and Eric was playing different ones for me, and I was like, ooh, play them. And I'll just like play their top tracks, which normally, I'm an album guy, right, and I'll get to that with them, but I just recently started listening to Spotlights. Super heavy, very good. All right, man. We did it. 1 episode in the can. Personal Records. No, man. High five. Let's go. Thank you for joining us on Personal Records. Come back and see us again, won't you?
Good day.
Music. Yay.